the federal government has just signed an agreement with Saskatchewan to say that they no longer have to obey all of the regulations that have been laid out for the coal-fired electricity sector. Before this equivalency agreement, Saskatchewan was in a position where Boundary Dam Units 4 and 5 had to be retired within the next, well, by the end of the year. And so quite soon, we'd be seeing some units go offline, and we'd have less coal-fired power in the province. We'd have reduced emissions, but we'd also then have to think of other ways to generate it, which SaskPower is working on, like wind power projects coming online, and even projects that are slightly cleaner, even if they still emit. So some of the natural gas plants, they still emit, but they emit less than a coal plant. So there are ways for SaskPower to start reducing their emissions. The other half of the agreement is that SaskPower has to have a certain amount of clean or non-emitting generation. So I read that as, largely renewable. Right now we have about 25% of all of the capacity in our province is renewable. Most of it's hydro, about 20%. Some of it is wind, about 5%, and then there's a little bit of solar. So to get to the agreed target by 2030, SaskPower would have to get to between 40 to 50% capacity that's renewable by 2030. 40% is easier to get to than 50. We'll see if they can get close to the 50. Now, whether they can do it, SaskPower has announced a few years ago this plan to get up to 50% renewable energy capacity in the province. When they outlined how they'd get there, they thought mainly wind projects. So we'll keep building every year or two a 200 megawatt wind project. They're now starting to build out some solar projects as well. They thought when they announced this target, maybe 60 megawatts would be solar. Not a lot. They're rolling it out in 10 megawatt chunks. Now, if they find that the price of solar continues to go down, maybe they'll expand that and do more like 100 or 200 or 300 megawatts of solar. So it'll depend on where the prices go with solar, but generally they've been going down over time, so we expect they might continue to do so. We look at the potential for renewable energy in Saskatchewan. We have some of the best wind power in North America, and we're in this wind corridor of the Great Plains where there's fields, there's space, there's great wind, and so we could put a lot of wind capacity in the province. They were thinking, when they announced their target, about 2,100 megawatts of wind. When they announced it, they only had 220 megawatts of wind, so it'd be a 10 times increase. Now that should be possible because we have space, we have the resource, so we should be able to do it.